You're listening to The Burning Truth. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, dudes and dudettes. I am Matt Burns, and let's just say this week I've still got my partner in crime, which is none other than JB, also known as John Ballore.
Well, that must mean me. Hi there, how you doing? Sorry about the pause there. You just caught me just still doing a bit of last minute preparation for this week's show.
Yeah,
very interesting. I'm just on Wikipedia reading about the subject of this week's show. It's quite interesting. Yeah, you did say in advance who it was going to be. So yeah, I'm just I've done my research on Southpaw Regional Wrestling's Lethal Leap Year 1987, which we're doing predictions for, aren't we? Yeah, and I'm just reading the Wikipedia bio of Norman Smiley just to get nice and ready. Well, you said the most hated man in professional wrestling.
Norman Smiley, the most hated man in professional wrestling. Are you mad?
Well, I thought you were when you said it, because there seems to be nothing but good things about him on this Wikipedia page, but apparently that's what you said, isn't it?
How is Norman Smiley the most hated man in professional wrestling?
Believe it or not, having read his entry in other reference places on the internet are available, but this one is the most comprehensive and free, Wikipedia, I was going to ask you the same question. Did you like Freudian slip and say the wrong name or something?
It's not, no, I did not Freudian slip. I actually said the name last week. You said it also, and on top of that, you even mentioned the damn wrong pay-per-view that we're predicting.
You mean it's not Lethal Leap Year 1987?
No!
Again, I wondered how we could predict something that happened 33 years ago, but I've done all this research and everything, and you're telling me it's wrong.
Yeah, it sounds like it, but who knows? You could probably put it into another episode, maybe. Who knows? In case...
Right then, so... Since I am now completely unprepared, would you like to tell me, at the same time as the listeners, because apparently I'm not right, what the subject matter for this week's show actually is?
Right. Let's get down to business straight away, because originally the main topic, which is going to be the headliner, will be the last thing that we talk about. And believe me when I say this, we are going to have to be heavily using the disclaimer, which we'll
do as soon as we've explained what's happening. Yes, that's fine.
Yes.
I'm with you on that bit.
Right. However, we are at the same time, because lo and behold, last week in our Infinite Wisdom, as we were mentioning the main subject, we both kind of slipped up and forgot that this week is Money in the Bank.
Well, yeah, we could have been forgiven for forgetting on the grounds that continued presence of WWE events still, all with no fans, and there was question marks over whether it was even relevant to hold Money in the Bank in this circumstances, but WWE it's frankly raising more questions than it's answered, and so we have to do predictions as well as talk about the format, which is going to cause some head scratching. But there you go.
And the main topic of this week
is apparently not Norman Smiley. So please put me out of my misery. Who is it?
It is definitely not Norman Smiley, because Norman Smiley is a well-respected and an amazing, talented agent and all-round amazing guy.
Yes. I would just like to point out, for those of you who are possibly thinking that this is serious, that was a joke. I know that Norman Smiley is A, a legend, and B, probably not even the most hated person in an empty room. He's a genuine legend.
Far from it, and probably.
But on the other hand, the actual person we're talking about this week engenders frothing rage that borders on psychopathic tendencies from quite a lot of wrestling fans.
Correct, and namely me included. But unfortunately, I'm now going to mention his name without.
You mean without mentioning his middle name, which is the second worst swear word you could say?
Yes.
Yes.
And also, I will then probably use the full title, subject name after the disclaimer is mentioned.
Yes.
We are going to be talking about Vince Russo. And does he deserve the hate? Get that disclaimer out quickly, please.
Yes, he does. Okay, thanks for listening. See you next week.
No.
Oh, you mean we've got to go into more depth than that?
We have got to go into depth.
Right.
Get the disclaimer out of the way.
The following broadcast may contain storylines and languages not suitable for younger viewers and may also contain strong language not suitable for other viewers. The program may also contain, or listeners, may also contain strobe lighting effects.
In case anybody wants to know, yes, there is going to be a lot of swear words in this episode, most likely.
Yes, we will try and flag them as close to the point when we do them as possible with either swearing warning or soapbox warning, but this is your advanced warning. We're going to be saying that a lot, and there's going to be lots of effing and blinding going on. Because...
In actual fact, it will not be on the first subject, which is, as we stated, the Money in the Bank predictions. There may be the odd one, which we'll try to flag. However, we cannot be held responsible.
Subject, because, to give him his full title, Mr. Matt Burns, we are talking about none other than...
Vince fucking Russo.
Right, let's stay moderately calm. There may be a soapbox and there may be the odd bit of foul language from me about the first subject and some of the vagaries of the Money in the Bank concept. So let's get that out of the way and then get to the predictions. And then we can take a deep breath and delve into how many times we can drop the C-bomb in the space of one podcast without getting ourselves kicked off the platform that we broadcast on.
Or F-bombs.
Them too.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get down to business and let's move on to Money in the Bank. You know, Money in the Bank, where they've got the tagline, climb the corporate ladder.
And the poster is loads of people who are apparently huge, massive, like Power Ranger baddie-sized Super Zord monsters and are all stood on the roof of Titan Towers, even though the combined efforts of Bayley, Braun Strowman, Drew Galloway and Charlotte fill the whole of the roof. And there's also some ladders of smaller people suspended in thin air around them.
I'm just looking at this, and I've just seen on my list there's a bit of a glaring issue with it.
What?
And you probably haven't noticed it.
I have noticed that one of the main champions is fundamentally absent from what I can see, both card and poster.
No. There's actually one on the poster that's not even on the card.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
Have they snuck the 24/7 championship in there somehow?
No.
Hold on, I'm just going to enlarge the poster.
And what makes it worse is, the person that we're referring to is one of the four that are massive.
Hang on, what? So there's a double on there?
No. One of them, of the people we just mentioned, out of the four names, the big names, isn't actually in the match order that we've got in front of us for the card.
No, and I would just like to apologise because I've just realised, in my infinite wisdom, I do believe I might have just referred to the current reigning defending WWE champion as Drew Galloway, and you didn't even notice.
I allow it, because it's true.
Fair enough.
It's true. But anyway, in case to make a mockery of your Freudian slip, I believe my colleague was referring to Drew Galloway, also known as, and currently known as, Drew McIntyre.
Yes. Yes, the chosen one, no less.
No. Former chosen one, now he'll just take your head off with a claymore.
Yeah. Oddly, he's not the chosen one, now he's the champion, but he couldn't win it for Toffee when he was. Irony!
We'll get to that
Anyway,
a bit later.
also, have you noticed that one of the major champions of the company is not on the card, does not have a match, is not on the poster, and has been elbowed aside for Queen Flair?
Oh, of course.
I am, of course, referring to the lady from Ireland.
Yes.
Currently the, I believe, both current and all-time longest reigning women's champion since the Fabulous Moolah, a record, of course, that will never be broken, but second all-time and longest by a arm and a leg in the modern era.
Yes, but however, she has stated that she, during a certain interview, that she is there during the tapings.
Interesting.
Because there's even a speculation of a rumor that is going to be happening in the said Money in the Bank match.
Yes.
Which doesn't bode well for one of the competitors.
Oh, I wonder who. Anyway, we'll get to that shortly.
We shall get to that shortly. But anyway, let's get down to business and get on to the predictions.
Before we do the predictions, there's just one more thing I've got to address.
Go on.
I mean, we're going to find out later tonight, but WWE, in their infinite wisdom, because there's no crowd or anything, and the matches have been pre-shot in a cinematic WrestleMania Firefly Funhouse match kind of way, are WWE really having both the Money in the Bank matches running simultaneously?
They are running simultaneously, and rumour has it should be under an hour.
What, for both matches?
They're happening at the same time.
Yeah, well, no, that's the thing. That leaves rather sparse card for the rest of the card for what's supposed to be a 3-hour show. I'm thinking there's going to be at least one unadvertised match here.
I think there's going to be more than one.
I said at least one. And also, what are they going to do? Is it going to be a split screen pretty much the whole time? Is there going to be constantly fast editing cuts between, or have they set it up in such a way that they've pre-filmed it that it basically is more of a film than a wrestling match as we know it, with lots of edits between the bits of action that you're supposed to suspend your disbelief before, but basically mean that it can't have all happened at the same time because they're, you know, like, oh, we're going to cut to the women on the 37th floor. Right, now back to the men. They're only on the 9th. And like a split second later, the men are on the 29th floor, and then they're ahead of the women. And is it going to be like that? Because
honest answer,
I don't know how it's going to work, but I think it's going to take a lot of suspension of disbelief, possibly more than most casual wrestling fans have.
No idea whatsoever.
However, the only one that is more perhaps, I don't know if this is going to work, more than I am excited to find out how they do it.
However, I pretty much can guarantee I know 3 things that will not be mentioned by the commentary team at all on this entire show.
All right.
You ready for this? Non-title match will never be mentioned.
Sorry?
Non-title match will never be mentioned by the commentary team because supposedly Vince McMahon has added that to the naughty list.
Wait, what? The words non-title match?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, for example...
Yeah, don't even go there because take into account when we had the Viking Raiders beat up the current WWE Raw champions in a match which was non-title and had people confused. Is this a title match? Oh, have you got new champions?
Yeah, no. Quick question. I think that might possibly be one of the unscheduled matches on the card because there is currently no Raw Tag Team title match on the card as we speak,
Correct.
And if, as we say, both Money in the Bank matches are running simultaneously, and that means that they go for tops an hour, even with all the cinematic special effects, instead of, say, 40 minutes each, they're going to need to fill some space.
Pretty much. Anyway, let's continue on. On to the other two things that aren't going to be mentioned by the commentary team at all.
Is one of them the name of a certain wrestler who the crowd love chanting the name of because they find it funnier than chanting boring?
No.
Who now, again, officially works for the company, but they still don't like his name being mentioned?
No.
No? Okay. What are they going to be then? Do tell.
The other one is Roman Reigns.
He's not being mentioned. Okay.
Ever.
Why?
He hasn't been mentioned since before WrestleMania because he opted out because supposedly there is some speculation that Vince McMahon doesn't want his name being mentioned at all.
Which would imply perhaps that the thing that was calmly and clearly stated by Triple H before WrestleMania, that it was everyone who did it in question's option to opt out, and they were absolutely free to, and there would be no repercussions, is ringing somewhat hollow.
Yeah, potentially, even though that Sami Zayn has done the exact same thing.
Hence why there's no Intercontinental Championship match on this card.
And his name has been mentioned.
Yes.
Which is now making people wonder what the hell's going on. But anyway...
Not least what Roman Reigns has done, or hasn't done, in Vince McMahon's eyes, because he's either done something or not done something. You can get in as much shit for both with Vince, can't you?
Wait. And let's get on to because we've dawdled a little bit before we get to the predictions.
Yeah.
Let's get on to the last thing that will not be mentioned ever on WWE and hasn't been mentioned ever.
Well, I know one thing that it isn't, because about 5 years ago they decided that these were no longer getting mentioned on television, but now they do get mentioned again, especially when they like to be all PC and acknowledge the name of the female ones and go, look, there's a woman doing that, and that's the referees' names.
Yeah, are you ready for this one?
Yeah, the thing that's not going to be mentioned.
And hasn't been mentioned even since it's happened. And it's something that we don't normally mention, but we have.
I've just realised me racking my brains and pulling a confused thinking face on an audio broadcast doesn't really work. So just tell me.
And I have to thank Jim Cornette for pointing this out.
Good on old James E. Cornette.
It wasn't actually Cornette himself. It was actually his podcast partner who pointed it out.
All right, but
since they've actually been on lockdown and had to lock it up due to the current pandemic.
Oh yeah, they haven't actually mentioned that on the air, have they?
And they won't.
Really?
They won't.
No, fair enough. They've probably got their reasons. We probably don't agree with them, but if they've got their reasons, fair play to them. Let's not question.
The odd thing about it is, you think they'd probably mention it, especially if they're doing house shows not house shows, if they're doing enclosed shows, probably briefly.
Well, yeah. It's a bit strange, that. I don't know. Yeah. The world is slowly creeping back to normal.
Anyway, let's get back.
Yeah, anyway. We've talked far long enough. Right, shall we start with what is designated P for pre-show on the Wikipedia page? Yep.
Which is Jeff Hardy versus Cesaro. Huh? Really?
I didn't... Well, okay, that's weird. Yeah, that noise you just made, the what kind of noise. So Jeff didn't leave and go to the name that Bayley's uniform spells out when she puts the title around her waist with his brother.
No, because odd thing about it is he made a return on SmackDown this week when he called out the person who called him out the previous week, which was Sheamus. And they ended up brawling, and Jeff Hardy pretty much swanton bombed him.
Oh, lovely. And so as a result,
hang on.
He's now facing Sheamus's former tag team partner, who he doesn't get on with anymore. Wrestling logic.
Exactly. I thought he would have been more or less against Sheamus. And what made it worse is, and didn't make sense, the fact that Jeff Hardy had to make a return last week, even though he made a return recently against King Corbin.
Yeah, it's very weird. Needless to say, Cesaro's "I just want to fight" gimmick means much like the "I don't miss" thing that Finn Balor's doing. He's going to win.
Wait, Cesaro in his fighting mood. Where have we seen that before?
Might it possibly be one of the, in fact, the only member of the Men's Money in the Bank ladder match who was born in the continent of Europe?
Yeah.
Yeah. Ironically, though, both started doing it round about the same time, so I don't know if you can claim that one stole it off the other, or if just the two separate people in WWE Creative have gone, this is a really good idea, and neither have talked to each other.
Or someone just gone, oh, I know what we do. You know, we're on SmackDown, they're on Raw. Let's borrow a bit. Copy, paste.
Yeah, that's equally likely. Anyway, I believe I've already said my prediction, but just to highlight it and underline it and make sure that you're aware, Cesaro's probably going to win this one.
Jeff Hardy.
Okay, that's good. But it's different. Variety is the spice of life. One of us can't win if we all predict the same. So yeah, that's cool.
It's definitely. You're going for Cesaro. I'm going for Jeff Hardy simply because, well, it's Jeff Hardy. He's just come back.
Yeah, but I'm going for shenanigans, payback, like one night only reformation of the bar kind of deal.
True, but no, it's Jeff Hardy.
Anyway, first match of the main card, according to the list on Wikipedia, which we could just point out.
We're not.
No, I wasn't going to do those two. I was going to go for I was actually going to do it in reverse for the rest of it.
Continue.
So start with number 8 on the list.
Yes.
Which is most likely to be the opening match.
Yeah, most likely. Or if not, on the pre-show.
Yeah. Which is a singles match, for no apparent reason, between the 24/7 champion.
Nope.
Except he isn't at the moment, but he has been 36 times. So, you can forgive me for thinking he was.
Yep.
R-Truth versus Mr. Very Large Paycheck, which is the only reason he's back in the company, I'm absolutely sure. MVP.
Yeah. Montal Vontavious Porter.
Massively voluminous paycheck. I prefer that better.
Personally, I can see MVP doing this as to put a talent over, as he has been.
Oh, yes. Yes, that young, up-and-coming 48-year-old future star R-Truth. Yeah. Get it.
He has been on most shows.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. It's just...
But I think it's going to be a little bit different on this show.
In
Me
what way?
personally, I can see MVP coming out with the victory.
Yeah.
Because he's now building up himself a stable.
Building himself up a stable?
Yes.
Interesting. Bear in mind, I only watch NXT. I don't watch main roster WWE unless it's a pay-per-view. Well, who else is in this stable?
I'll take into account, actually, 2 of the guys that are in the stable have come from NXT.
Uh-huh.
Which will be Shane Thorne.
Well, it's about time they did something with him. And who else?
And his recent tag team partner.
Who would be? Just remind me, because I haven't watched NXT for 3 weeks either. I was going to do it, I was going to be doing it about now, and then I remembered that we're not broadcasting at 9, we're broadcasting now, so I'm going to watch NXT after this.
Brandon Vick.
Brandon
Vink.
He's a rather new... Bloody hell, he's been promoted to the main roster nearly as quickly as Stone Cold Theory.
Yep, pretty much.
It's like, seriously, give them some time in NXT.
No,
don't strap the rocket up their ass as soon as they get through the door.
Supposedly,
in Jesus.
However, with Brandon Vink, the interesting thing about it is he has been on the basically making names and waves on the independent scene, on the basically in the development area of other development areas.
Well, so allegedly has Steve Theory. So, that's why they've promoted him as well.
Yes. So, potentially from the same company.
Yes.
But anyway.
By the way, in case you wonder, yes, I am going to persevere with using every single one of Rattlesnake theory, using every single one of Stone Cold Steve Austin's names and nicknames to call Mr. Theory by, because his name's Austin and it's a good joke. And if you don't like it, sorry, but I'm going to run it into the ground.
And that's
it
the
might
bottom
very
line.
well become the new Booker T's Room of Candles. It might get used that much. But the good news is that means I won't mention Booker T's Room of Candles as much anymore.
That damn candles!
I think it's not Booker T's room anymore, actually. I think you'll find he's been evicted, or he's just left because he's too busy with his training school, and it's now Alistair Black's Room of Candles. Anyway, moving swiftly on, you think MVP is going to win against R-Truth? I wholeheartedly agree. Right, next match, Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match for the WWE SmackDown Tag Team Championships. Ladies and gentlemen, I think I have actually rendered Matt Burns speechless. There is a first time for everything, but luckily I am capable of filling, so we're good. He's either speechless, dead, or he's fallen off the air. If he's fallen off the air, we're done. But if he's any of the other two, wake up.
It's not that. It's just, you just mentioned the next match, which is the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match for the WWE Tag Team Champions.
Between the New Day, currently Big E and Kofi, because I think Xavier Woods is still injured. Or has opted out.
Still injured.
Versus, they are the current champions. What are they now? 8-time champions? Something like that.
Yep.
Versus The Miz and John Morrison.
Yep.
Versus Lucha House Party. Good to see they've given Grant Metalik and Lince Dorado a pay-per-view match. The guys deserve it. Versus the
Forgotten Sons.
First ever WWE pay-per-view in probably only about their third ever WWE television, as opposed to NXT match, the Forgotten Sons. Which could be any two of Steve Cutler, you don't spell Jackson like that, Riker, and Wesley Blake.
Or Wesley Blake. Blake.
Or the man who I can't help but refer to now as just about the only thing Enzo Amore ever did that I found vaguely interesting or funny.
Go on.
So I now can't help but think of him as Frosted Flake Wesley Blake.
Oh my God, I can't get it out of my head now.
Neither can I. That's why I thought I'd pass the horror on.
I love it. However,
anyway,
in case anybody is wondering, there's a tag team missing out of that.
Yes, there very much is.
There's a reason why.
And what would that be?
One of them is injured.
Aha. And they are not in the situation that the New Day, or indeed the Forgotten Sons, find themselves in that there's three of them, so if one's injured, they can still throw the other two in the match.
Yeah, pretty much.
So,
Oops.
Which one of them's injured? Is it...
Not sure which one it is.
Wild Bearded Tattooed one, or Wild Bearded Tattooed one?
I am going to dodge that question. I'm not sure which one is injured. I'm just going to state that there is an injury. So unfortunately, their tag team partner is basically, at the moment, currently having to step out of it until the recovery. Yeah. And that is where I'm leaving it. Anyway, I'm just going to continue.
This is the Fatal 4-Way, which I comprehensively predict that one team and one team only will win.
Yes.
Thanks to a big spot of out New Day-ing the New Day. Because the third man, that's not how you spell Jackson! Right at ringside, will be the key player in helping the Forgotten Sons win the Tag Team Championships. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I think I'm going for the hat trick. I've now rendered him speechless, made him impossible to speak because he's too busy wetting his pants laughing. I'm going for the hat trick. I'm now going to say something so offensive that he boots me off the show. Brace yourselves, it may come before the end.
Oh, good Lord. I'm going to have to go with the New Day.
Okay, fair enough. I'm going with the Forgotten Sons.
I can't see them going with the Forgotten Sons. It's too soon for them, but that is just absolutely gold. But anyway, we need to continue.
Steve Cookie Cutler. That's not how you spell Jackson! Riker and Frosted Flake Wesley Blake will be your new tag team champions.
No, it's just, If that happens, I'm just gonna keel over with laughter.
Great. Well, in
Are
that
you ready
case,
for this? This is now because of that. I actually want to be wrong. I actually want to be wrong.
Embrace the power of positivity. Oh wait, no, that's the New Day. Shit. That's it. You know what I
just want
mean.
to be so wrong, but anyway, let's push
Right.
on.
Next, we'll go up the list. Even though I think this match will probably not be third on the card, I think it'll be a bit higher up. But the next one on the list is the singles match for the WWE Championship.
Yeah, pretty
Drew
much.
McIntyre versus Seth Rollins.
We know what we're going to go with.
We know exactly what we're going to get with this. We're going to get a belting match. We're going to get lots of interference from Authors of Pain and Buddy Murphy, and Drew McIntyre is going to win.
Yeah, definitely Drew McIntyre. It's a given.
Yeah, it's a given.
Anyway.
We don't even need to say that is probably the only thing on the entire card more likely than the outcome of the next match, which is a singles match for the WWE SmackDown Women's Championship between Bayley and Tamina.
Right.
Do you actually even for 1 picosecond think that anyone except Bayley is winning this match?
No.
Right, moving on.
Yeah,
the next match.
In case you're wondering, we're both going with Bayley, and massively the major reason why we are going to go with Bayley, and allow me to speak on both of us. How can we actually believe that Tamina is going to win when she has been pushed, when she hasn't been pushed at all, been absolutely buried? The last time she was in the WWE Championship match, she was first eliminated.
Yes. Well, no, and that wasn't even a championship match. That was a number 1 contenders match.
No, the actual championship match at WrestleMania.
Oh, right, okay, no, but...
The elimination one.
Oh, right, yes, sorry.
That's what I mean, straight away. Huh?
Yeah, anyway.
So she's gone from being first eliminated to, you were first eliminated and knocked out and basically had no weight to, as in, no weight as in to push your momentum into the next
You literally have no momentum or claim to a title match. But you've got one! Hashtag WWE logic. Because
she did a kick and managed to pin in a non-title match, I think.
Anyway, don't say that.
Anyway, moving on.
Right, yeah. Moving on, next match. A singles match for the WWE Universal Championship. Braun Strowman versus Bray Wyatt. Now this is going to be interesting.
You might have just noticed something there.
I have, yes. I have noticed the 2 words and the distinct lack of any particular extra 2 words of a nickname starting with the.
Fiend. Yeah. It's missing. Why is that? Are you ready for this? Because rumour has it is not going to be the Fiend. It is going to be the Bray Wyatt who has been part of the Firefly Funhouse.
Is this the same Bray Wyatt who previously had the title match? Was it against The Miz?
The Miz.
And do we think it's going to be a similar situation?
It's going to be a similar situation.
Could not fight. Where he didn't fight back.
I don't think that's going to
attempt to hit the Sister Abigail. No, I don't think that's going to be the case because I think if you don't fight back against Braun Strowman, you'll die.
Yeah.
But it's weird.
The other thing about it is, I can see this being a quick match. I can see this being a crushing defeat for Bray Wyatt. Strowman's just going to kill Bray Wyatt.
Unfortunately.
Which will then lead into the next event, into Braun Strowman versus The Fiend Bray Wyatt.
I was just going to say, I can see that coming in much the same way that WWE used to be like, aha, you've beaten Finn Balor, have you? Right, well, have you met his psychopathic face-painted alter ego? Because you won't beat him so easily. Same deal.
Pretty much.
Except it's a mask, not face paint, before you get on me about that. Yes. Yeah. Okay, so we're both thinking Strowman to retain.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay. The next match, since I'm doing all the matches, we might as well carry on. Well, actually, the weird thing is, no, I think the next 2 matches are going to be on at the same time. So
Yes.
we'll cover one at a time, however, because it's sort of impossible. Unless I do one and Matt Burns does the other and we talk over each other, which, let's face it, will be thoroughly inaudible. We can't do both at the same time. So let's start with the men's Money in the Bank match. Money in the Bank ladder match for a World Championship match contract. Daniel Bryan versus Rey Mysterio versus Aleister Black versus Karen Boring versus
King
Otis versus AJ Styles. Wow. He's
yes, you didn't stutter. Yes, you didn't stutter. He has suddenly rose from the dead, and supposedly now people are now thinking that AJ Styles is immortal.
Was the last job that they did for the company before they were furloughed, Gallows and Anderson, to dig him up out of the grave as soon as the Undertaker had driven off on his bike?
Oh.
Zing!
Oh, that's bad. That's bad.
I'm on form today.
That's bad.
Anyway, this match has intrigue written all over it. I'm wondering how much bizarre things they're going to utilize, namely sort of black magic related things that they don't necessarily work in. You've only got one shot because it's live setting, revolving around Aleister Black and possibly his new disciple, the master of the black art and buried alive voodoo sort of zombie AJ Styles.
Yeah,
there's a career change.
But
hey, royalties for ideas, checks payable to the Burning Truth, please, Mr. McMahon.
And ladies and gentlemen, let's just state this: the fact that the irony of it is straight after the event, we've also got Undertaker's Last Rites documentary. It writes itself.
Yes, it really does. But yeah, whether they're going to take a more cinematic boneyard / Firefly Funhouse match from WrestleMania type angle with this, yes, they are. But how much they do that remains to be seen.
And are you ready for this?
What?
There's a rumor for the Money in the Bank
rumor
matches.
That Otis is going to have specially reinforced ladders.
There's a rumor that there is going to be, don't know which ladder match. However, this has come from Becky Lynch.
Yes. Oh, speaking of which, yeah, she's not on this card at all.
Yes,
so.
and this is where we have to say take it with a pinch of salt, because Vince McMahon was testing some of the equipment out for the footage.
Oh, yes.
Which involved a crane and potentially going off the building.
Hang on. Well, record scratch. What? A crane falling off the building? People falling off the building from the top of a crane? What? Clarify those statements.
Could be potentially taking a dive off the building.
What? Sort of WCW Uncensored 99 levels of stupidity. Oh, look! The Big Show's fallen off a tower block. Oh, look, he's fine 20 minutes later.
No. We're not talking that. We're talking it's going to be in full view of the camera. Falling off the building. As in, we actually see him go down.
What? So basically what you're saying is they're going to be
It's going to look like a snuff film.
The edge of the building green screen.
No idea. And it's not going to be green screen from what we've heard from Becky Lynch.
So basically what you're saying is, in a desperate final attempt to garner ratings before the main two companies in professional wrestling in the United States are NXT and AEW, or, if the rumours from last week are to be believed, Vince sells the company and fucks off, is that he's genuinely going to kill one of his superstars.
Potentially.
Fairly comprehensive way to go. Is that why they haven't fired Drake Maverick yet?
No.
Is it? Good.
Anyway.
Good. I would not wish harm on any WWE superstar, especially not Drake Maverick.
Now,
the interesting thing... I don't believe that that's going to happen, so don't try and claim that I did.
The interesting thing about it is, people have had... One person speculated who it was going to be that would be falling off.
Okay. Well, if it involves Becky Lynch and falling off a building,
Nope.
does it rhyme with Baina Flaisler?
Nope. And the
Well,
people who pick
that
most
would
of them
actually make
picking,
sense.
the people
Sorry?
who I've heard they've been mostly picking, and I don't see the logic.
Well, who have they been picking? And then I can understand your lack of logic and probably comprehensively agree with you. But who is it?
Otis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There you go.
That makes about as much sense as
all I'm going to say is the only clear thing that can probably point out is this: does Vince McMahon have some sort of thing of big men falling off big heights into possibly trucks of
when
hay?
I mentioned WCW and the Big Show,
Yeah,
I think I was far nearer the knuckle than I actually thought that I would be and should be, and that anyone has any right to be.
yeah.
Also, are you referring possibly to No Way Out 99, or was it 2000, and the Armageddon Hell in a Cell and the Rikishi incident?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was off the top of a cell. This is off the top of a building. That's going to need a fuckload of hay.
Yeah. Anyway. And ladies and gentlemen, we are not stating that Otis is in regards to his weight.
We're not stating he's either overly large, or that he's a superhero, or that he's going to fall off a building, or that we wish him any harm. I think that's covered all the bases.
If I was going to pick somebody,
yes,
it'd be out to one or two people.
It would, for me, it would come down to one of two people as well.
Who do you go for?
One of my two people are the man who's made a career out of being able to fly.
Oh.
In the cruiserweight sense.
Yes.
Mr. Raymond Charles Mysterio III.
Right.
Or the man who they can explain him falling to his death away by using black magic as an excuse.
So you believe Aleister Black?
Either Ray or Aleister Black, yeah, if they're going to do something stupid like that.
You've got one of mine.
Well, I'm guessing you thought Aleister Black as well.
Yeah, he's the one of them. The other one, I think AJ Styles, seeing as he's somehow immortal.
That is also a possibility.
Somehow. Anyway.
Buried alive, one pay-per-view. Thrown off a building the next. The only question I have is, come the next pay-per-view, how are they going to top being thrown off a building? What are they going to do? Actually feed him into the rotors of a helicopter or something? Seriously. Note to everyone listening at home, do not attempt that. And we do not suggest that is a sensible thing to do. And we do not wish it upon anybody. We are spitballing here. We don't want any of this to happen. We don't think any of this is going to happen. This is just the ludicrous situation that the stipulation of this event puts us in. Wow. Okay, so the Money in the Bank ladder match for the Women's Championship match contract, which will be happening at the same time, by the way, features Asuka, Shayna Baszler.
We haven't stated who we're predicting.
Nia Jax, Dana Brooke, Lacey Evans, and Carmella. And we might as well do the predictions at the same time, because the matches will be happening at the same time.
So we have gone for Asuka, Shayna Baszler, Nia Jax, Dana Brooke, Lacey Evans, and Carmella. Now...
Also known as Not a Chance, Gonna Get Screwed by Becky, Not a Chance, Not a Chance, Not a Chance, and Not a Chance. So I genuinely haven't got a clue.
Now, rumour has it that Nia Jax is supposedly still in hot water.
For her little rant at Miss Rousey.
And the fact and it's not just because the rant at Ronda Rousey, it's also the fact that some people have been calling her a hypocrite.
Okay.
In the fact that they are stating that she is also a dangerous worker, potentially.
Well, it could be argued that she is, but who knows? Anyway, well, she's not going to win. Let's be brutally honest here. Dana Brooke, Lacey Evans, and Carmella are just there to make up the numbers, which puts us down to a field of two.
I'm really sorry to upset you. I can see one for Raw and one for SmackDown.
Well, no, there's I can see two people winning, but you're probably going to tell me that they're both on one brand.
Yeah. Because you're going for Asuka and Shayna Baszler, aren't you?
Well, no, obviously Shayna Baszler's not going to win because Becky's going to find some way to stop her, which means basically I think Asuka's going to win.
I don't. Which they're both on Raw.
Well, no, that's fine. But who do you think is going to win?
Right. Out of the 2 picks for each brand, if it's SmackDown, Lacey Evans. I know.
Sorry, do my ears deceive me? Did you really just say that?
Yes, if it's SmackDown. But
yes,
I am not going for the SmackDown one.
Okay.
I'm going for my Raw pick. Shayna Baszler.
Okay, fair enough. I think it would be her, but like I said, I think Becky's going to try and make sure that it isn't. So I'm going with Asuka.
I don't think she is, because then if she does that, then if anything, that makes Becky more of a coward.
Possibly. We shall see. I'm sticking with my pick because it's different to yours, so it makes life interesting.
And the reason why I think it will be because, God forbid, if either one of the guys don't come flying off the building, then I can see a brawl happening straight after Shayna Baszler wins.
Regarding the men's match?
No. Shayna, if none of the guys go flying off, I can see Shayna Baszler winning, and the man coming around to trying to put her in the place, and one of them going flying off the building.
How about possibly both of them? In a number one contender and champ are both dead cliffhanger.
Who knows?
Who actually wants to speculate? I can't believe that this is even something we're discussing seriously, but this is WWE in 2020. So anyway, I've gone for Asuka, you've gone for Shayna for the women's match. As far as the men's Money in the Bank match goes,
I'm
stuck. I'm genuinely stuck. But I think I'm going to let you go first to buy myself some more time.
I'm going for the person who is the Master of Resurrection, is somehow able to unbury himself and somehow is got some new godly power over Aleister Black.
I told you.
Aleister Black, and it's none other than the supernatural AJ Styles.
I told you the last job Gallows and Anderson did as they went out the door was to unbury him. He hasn't got any powers of his own.
I think he has got powers.
And I'm also not going with him. I'm going with the puppet master who gave him said powers. Hell, it's a stupid storyline. Why not go with that?
Yeah.
And the logical conclusion, the man with the most protected finisher since Hulk Hogan's leg drop.
Ooh.
Mr. Aleister Black.
Now, that'll be interesting. However...
You're telling me.
However, we've got one additional pick to pick.
We have.
Because rumour has it that the masked hacker could potentially reveal himself.
The Masked Hacker. Oh, yes. Don't watch main roster WWE. Had no idea about this idea. You told me about this before the broadcast went live. And you're absolutely desperately trying to convince me that it's not Sami Callihan, aren't you?
Oh, it definitely isn't, even though he's got a hacker gimmick on Impact Wrestling already.
Hence what made me think it was him. But then again...
Which I'm not mistaken, he has a screen save that goes, "I see you," and then goes off.
Yeah, he didn't leave WWE or NXT on massively favourable terms, did he?
No.
Mind you, nor did the person you think it might be, so never count anything out.
No, I never said it was. Hells no, I never said it was.
Oh, right, no, that was it, yes. Not the person you think it might be, the people of the wrestling internet hope it might be.
It's begging.
They're begging for it to be, just so they can shut up and stop talking about him forever.
But then, if they do this, it means they'll talk more about him, which means we'll never hear the end of it.
It's a vicious circle and nobody can win.
Anyway,
but
I don't
Charles
think
Montgomery isn't coming back, people. Just deal with it.
think if they were going to do it, they'll wait until they get back to having the crowd there for the
You're
shock.
damn right, because they want as big an arena as they can with 20,000 people there to be shocked into silence. They won't do it in an empty arena.
Yes, even though we had some debuts in NXT, which I just thought of an additional subject for next week. Anyway,
lovely. Right, make a note of that quickly while I just write it down.
Already done.
Awesome. Right, that is predictions done. That's taken up an inordinately large amount of time.
Yes,
which means
it has.
We might have to make the main topic of today across 2 shows, because we might have to...
No, we're not.
Oh,
We're doing it in this episode. I don't give a flying hell. We are definitely doing it.
Right,
take into account, I had to bite my tongue then.
Yes, that's the Money in the Bank predictions done. We are now moving on to today's main topic, and therefore I must reissue the warning. The following subject will cause strong opinions amongst both the members of the Burning Truth crew, and therefore, for the next however long it takes, there will be copious amounts of very strong language, distinctly unsuitable to both children, people of a nervous disposition, and anyone that finds swearing distasteful. You have been warned.
Correct. So let's get on to Vince fucking Russo, shall we?
Oh, fuck. Do we have to?
Yes, we do.
Why? Do you know why I ended up reading the bio of Norman Smiley earlier? It was because I wanted to read about a fine, upstanding person, because I needed to cleanse my soul from reading about this cunt stain.
Yeah. In case you're wondering, I'm pretty sure the question that we've posed, which is, do we think he deserves the hate?
Yes. See you next week.
Fortunately,
we have to go into more detail than that.
Yes. As much as a lot of people can turn around and say, can you find a deriving point to defend Russo?
I really, really hope you can, because I couldn't.
Take into account, this has taken every bone and fibre of my being to find.
You've literally had to dig through approximately 7,000 metric tons of manure to find this one little nugget.
Take into account, he did try to basically push AJ Styles in Impact Wrestling at one point.
Yeah. When he really, really needed it.
When he wasn't in charge. When he wasn't in charge of the booking and was just in a character.
Wow. The attempt. All I can say is.
And supposedly,
yeah,
he's the reason why Triple H is Triple H, why The Rock is The Rock, and why Stone Cold is Stone Cold.
He was the main writer in the Undertaker versus Kane feud, the Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Mr. McMahon feud. He was the man behind the formation of D-Generation X, the rise of The Rock, and Mick Foley and the Three Faces of Foley, allegedly. Which means he's basically the axis of the whole Attitude Era, and he's an absolute wrestling legend. Swerve! He's the absolute polar opposite of that. And frankly, here's how it works, right?
Hang on. Wait. You've just given me a good point.
Well, yeah, okay, hold on. 2 seconds. I'm rolling here. Let me just roll. Keep it going. He was part of, and latterly head of, the writing team which created these angles. He was not the freewheeling guy who just went, this is an idea, do it, in WWF. He was that when he left in WCW, and we all know how quickly that went up shit creek.
However, the one time he was actually given a major decisive decision in WWE, or formerly known as WWF, he managed to fuck that one
also
up as well.
Went up shit creek quicker than you can say brawl for all.
Oh, anyway, the one thing you can honestly say that with the Russo is he introduced everybody to the Swerve,
the Swerve, the almighty Yeah, honestly, I would just like to say, ladies and gentlemen, I was going to start this part of the show with a really heartfelt and open 5-minute eulogy about why pro wrestling owes Vincent Charles Russo a massive debt of gratitude because he is the saviour, the man that put wrestling where it is today. And then say, Swerve, he's a douchebag. But I honestly couldn't do it with a straight face.
No.
Unfortunately, but yeah, he is the man who presented you with the idea that everything in wrestling has to be presented in one way, and then at the last minute, the curtain has to be pulled back, and it has to be revealed that actually everything's the polar opposite of what you've been told in the last however long. I wouldn't have minded. As a technique which is used occasionally, it works.
Is he the reason why Vince McMahon ended up doing "It was me, Austin, it was me all along"?
Possibly. Very possibly. I don't know. Like I say, the swerve technique used sparingly is a great one if used amongst other techniques and only pulled out when you absolutely have to. Trouble with Vince Russo is he wanted to use it every week, occasionally as many as 5 times a week, to the point where it's a bit like somebody listening to, I don't know, the Christmas broadcast by the Pope and hearing him in the midst of what seems to otherwise be a perfectly rational Christian sermon use the word motherfucker 27 times in 3 sentences. It just doesn't work. It loses all shock value after the first one. It's just like, seriously? No. Stop it. The first time he did it, it had the effect of hearing the Pope use a profanity. By the 733rd time it happened on Raw, less than 9 months later, everyone was just like, oh, I wonder which ridiculous angle he's going to make this perfectly sensible storyline go. Yawn, I wonder what's on Nitro.
Yeah.
Needless to say, my hatred for the man runs, I thought, to unparalleled deep levels, but apparently not. Apparently there is one person walking this planet whose hatred runs deeper.
2.
Oh, okay, well, I was gonna say, and that one person is you, Matt Burns, but who's the other one?
Jim Cornette.
Ah, yes. But unfortunately, this is the burning truth. You are Matt Burns, I am John Law. We are here. Jim Cornette is not. So, why do you hate the annoying, irritating, overhyped, full of himself, useless, great as part of a team, rubbish when you just let him freeball his ideas and you don't rein them in, cunt, so much?
Right, because simply, his writing style, which is emphasised on shock value and swerves all the time over in-ring action, he has become massively controversial. The fact that he has somehow, during his self-booking in WCW, somehow became a one-time WCW World Heavyweight fucking champion.
Yes. Oh, well, lest we forget, of course, during his reign of terror in
wait,
WCW, championships ceased to mean anything, just the designation of face and heel ceased to mean anything because people won them, lost them, switched between, and generally fucked about with what our expectations so spectacularly that they became fucking meaningless.
Mm-hmm. Take into account the fact that he is potentially the reason why you have Crash TV, which on WWF at the time, or WWE, which was reminiscence of the Jerry Springer show. He is a person who check this one out, right? Is undefeated in every time he has been involved in a match. And he has scored televised singles victories over future WWE Hall of Famers Ric Flair and Booker T, which the latter was to win his world title. He basically took the title off Booker T.
Yes, I'm speechless, but I'm just listening.
And has also placed himself in multiple pay-per-view main events within WCW and TNA. He is somebody who has done so many swerves and everything. The fact that This is how bad you know it is when a company is told by a network to not fucking hire him, otherwise we will drop you.
Hmm.
Does that sound familiar?
A little bit.
Yeah, TNA got told, or Impact Wrestling were told, never to hire him.
Yes, on the grounds that the TV company in question would
him.
literally not trust him as far as they could throw a barbed wire bat at his head.
Yeah. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
Here's the thing. He managed to secretly do it, and the fact that Russo claiming that he was paid $3,000 a month.
That's a lot, folks.
Right? To be a consultant.
Yes.
For them. And what makes it even worse in regards to this is the fact that TNA were saying, shh, keep it quiet, shh, to the television network. And who was the one, and how did it get revealed?
Go on.
Vince Russo accidentally supposedly sent an email to the fucking network.
Yeah, I love a massive 8-foot-high inverted commas there.
Or supposedly to Pro Wrestling Insider. Yes. With instructions on how TNA's commentators should work.
Yes.
And the fact that he also admitted it on his website. Yeah.
Oh, dear me. Hey, I have got one positive thing to say.
And are you ready for this?
Go on.
It's just dumbfounded. It is just dumbfounded. Then on top of that, of doing that, you've then got the whole WCW era of when he had his friend come out going, I'm Oklahoma! Don't even get me
Jim
started.
Ross. Don't even get me started on that right now. There's offensive. There's fucking offensive. There's I'm going to sue you immediately offensive. There's about 10 more stages of offensive. And then the 11th one is whatever the hell that clusterfuck was.
Take into account, he is the reason why David Arquette was WCW World Heavyweight fucking champion.
Yes.
Then on top of that, he is the reason why the Brawl for All happened.
Yes. You know, there's only one possible thing that can be put in the positive column. Well, okay, 1.5, because if he allegedly pushed AJ Styles, that's fair enough. 1.5 things that could possibly be put in the positive column for his career. And the trouble with it is, the one thing, A, probably wasn't exclusively his idea. Mm-hmm. B, was only come up with as a shit, now what do we do? When storylines were thrown out of the window because 2 of WCW's main champions rang up at pretty much the same time and went, injured, can't do the pay-per-view, bye. And C, it was botched worse than the WWF invasion angle. But I often look back on history and go, my God, New Blood versus Millionaires Club had so much potential and they pissed it all up the wall.
Yeah.
It could have been the thing that kept WCW alive, negated the need for the invasion angle, etc., and WCW could still be going. It was that much of a potentially groundbreaking idea, but of course, because everyone's second favourite person called Vince was writing it, like I said, it was botched worse than the invasion angle, buried quicker than you can say. Now I've changed my mind, or in fact, perhaps more on topic, buried quicker than you can say. Swerve!
Take into account that the Brawl for All happened only because he had a falling out with JBL.
Yes.
Bradshaw at the time. And he wanted to see him get knocked out. So,
Yes.
to punish one guy, and the Brawl for All was that, and this is how fundamentally messed up it was, the fact that we had multiple injuries throughout that entire event, the fact that the original guy that was meant to be getting pushed over, which was, I believe, is it Dr. Death?
Dr. Death, Steve Williams, yeah.
Steve Williams, who ended up having a crushing injury that ended up ending his WWE career.
Yes.
And then the person who ended up winning it, none other than Bart Gunn, was then brutally punished
for daring to win.
For daring to win and being fed to Butterbean at WrestleMania.
Who you can absolutely guarantee featured nowhere in that year's WrestleMania plans until Vince went, shit, what do we do with this guy? Yeah, he's won the tournament. He wasn't supposed to. Right.
And the fact that
who can we feed him to?
And
the wrestler? No, we haven't got one. I know, that guy.
And supposedly, Dr. Death Steve Williams was paid the money up front.
Allegedly so,
Allegedly.
Yeah. Allegedly, he got paid more for getting injured and not winning than Bart Gunn did for actually winning the damn thing.
Whoops.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, Droz should have beat Bradshaw.
Yes.
But didn't. But why?
Well, because they were trying to script an unscripted bloody fight.
Supposedly point system.
Yeah.
He didn't get a takedown, even though he had a takedown in the match.
The thing is, I'm just looking at the thing for the New Blood and the Millionaires Club.
And it makes it even worse.
Going back to that. Go on.
It makes it even worse. If anyone wants a clear indication or wanting to look up where we've got some of this information, just look up Dark Side of the Ring, the episode where they talk about the Brawl for All. As a lot of people stated, Bradshaw was only kept in because Vince Russo supposedly scheduled because he wanted to keep Bradshaw in to see him get knocked out. And if he didn't get knocked out, Bradshaw would more likely be showing that, yep, he's right. But no, that wasn't going to happen.
Of course not, no. But, I was just going to say, going back to, if we can, briefly, the Millionaires Club, the idea behind it, brilliant. Trouble is, execution, not very good. Because it was basically the idea that the Millionaires Club was the existing talent. The New Blood were all the young guys who were going to finally get their airtime and steal a bit of limelight from the existing stars. Yeah, it worked fine in principle, but this is Vince Russo, and this was WCW, so...
And after all that, he somehow ended up still getting hired by Aero Lucha, which was in Nashville, Tennessee, as a script consultant for about a year, I think. And then got told that he had been hired as an independent contractor, not as an employee. And as of April 2018, he was no longer with that promotion.
Which, Is anyone really surprised?
Yeah. Are you ready for this?
Go on.
I'm going to end this now.
Probably sensible.
With a swerve.
Just a little thing before you do. Did you know, Fact fans, on April 16, 2000, at WCW Spring Stampede in Chicago, Illinois, the plan worked well in most areas. All of the vacated WCW titles were won by the New Blood, with the exception of the WCW Hardcore Championship. Because I struggle to see how, in the year 2000, what was he, 55? 55 and crazy Terry Funk can possibly count as New Blood. Because he won the Hardcore Championship that night.
Right.
That's, well, there you go. Would that possibly be the last nationally recognised mainstream title that Terry Funk won, do you think?
No, I think he's probably had some others.
Hang on, I'm just wondering, as Chainsaw Charlie when he won the WWF Tag Team titles with Mick Foley, was that before?
Before.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm getting my timeline confused. But anyway, essentially, we need to wrap this up. The history of Vince Russo as a wrestling booker is working well as part of a team, getting too big for his boots, not being part of a team, and fucking everything up. And on that note, I think you're going to wrap things up.
With a swerve.
This is talk about Vince Russo. How else would you wrap this up? Go on.
I know, you ready for this?
No, but do it anyway.
There was an interview that occurred on 2020, this year.
Yeah.
Where somebody has basically defended him, saying a lot of people want to pick on Vince Russo. They love him. They thought he was really good at writing. They did everything he told me to do. You know, they told me to do, and they trusted him that much.
So this person said they did everything Vince Russo told them to do. They trusted him that far, and they didn't have a bad word to say against him.
Yes, and this is what's going to shock you.
Does this person's name rhyme with Flerick Mishoff?
No.
Okay.
It's going to quite surprise you. It's somebody who's just recently got let go by WWE.
Hang on, I'm just trying to think. Someone whose tenure is long-standing enough that they could have... Did they work with him in WCW or TNA?
TNA.
TNA, okay. No, it's on the tip of my tongue. Go on, just put me out of my misery. Who is it?
He won a gold freaking medal with a broken freaking neck.
You have got to be
Kurt
kidding me.
Angle!
In Kurt's defence, if your first ever wrestling show is the ECW event where they hung the Sandman from a cross...
Yeah.
Even anything Vince fucking Russo can do compared to that is going to be tame. You know? Plus, do you remember that spot Kurt used to do where he swung a chair really wildly, missed his opponent, it bounced off the top rope and cracked him in his own head?
You're wondering if he's had
I think he
them.
did that one too many times and knocked himself a bit gaga.
Possibly, but we're gonna have to end on that bombshell.
We really are. Wow, okay. Of all the people to defend Vince Russo, I did not expect that. Mind you, I don't think anyone did.
I didn't either. And take into account, while we were talking about this, I was actually doing a bit of research and looked this up. And when I actually found it, I was like, huh?
You were like, this is not April the 1st. Is this serious? And apparently it is. Okay, that just about wraps things up for this week's Burning Truth. Next week, we will be dealing with the fallout from Money in the Bank, and I believe that will be part of the show. I believe you have the main topic for the other half as well. Do you want to reveal it now, or are you going to wait till next week?
I'm going to reveal it now.
Ooh, lovely. So without further ado, drum roll, please.
Which basically involves the recent NXT debut
of
Karrion Kross and Scarlett.
Interesting.
On how, and Jim Cornette did point this out as well, but I'll wait until next week to make the reference. Let's just say they look similar. It almost like Cornette made a prediction.
It looks like a rehash of a past situation with a past superstar. Is that what you're saying?
With a past superstar and valet.
Yes, I think I know where you're going with this, but I'm not going to mention who it is until next week, because part of the fun for the listeners can be trying to work out and see if I really send my condolences if they do, but see if their brains work in the same way as mine. See if they reach the same conclusion.
Definitely 100%. But with that, that's most likely going to be a wrap-up for this week.
So next week, is that it? We're just talking about the debut. Is it just debuts in general, or this one in particular?
I'm going to say this one in particular for a reason, because it could be, because could it be history repeating itself?
All right, okay. I think that is something that happens quite a lot in wrestling, and I look forward to discussing that next week. But I think we should wrap up for now.
And also at the same time, where can we see this this development, this new debut for Karrion Kross, and I believe
you said on NXT. Oh, do you mean you mean where can we see where we believe it's been either partially or wholly lifted from?
Possibly, or how far is it going to go, and when we'll let in where we can see them going potentially for Karrion Kross and Scarlett.
I see.
But anyway, we'll get onto that for next week. So with that, I'm just going to jump into the plugs, which is I'm going to be doing a quick order, which is I recommend you all to check out Tony Knox Photography, Jessica Silva Photography, Kerry Swift Photography, for all your photography needs, BA Productions, SW Video for all videography. We of course also recommend you check out charitable organisations like Changes for Health and Wellbeing, Changes Recovery Radio, Mind, Messy for Mind, Donna Louise Hospice Care for Children and Young People, and of course Cancer Research UK. The information that they have on their websites could prove massively useful and could end up helping someone in a unlikely way. You may never know. We, of course, also recommend you check out the lighter side of wrestling by checking out Botchamania, You're Welcome Matthew, and, of course, Wrestle Crap.
Nice one, RD.
And, of course, OSW Review guys. OSW Review, highly recommend them, especially seeing that from time to time. I believe Matthew from Botchamania makes appearances on there. We, of course, also recommend you check out the Pull or Pass radio show hosted by Magic Mark Adams, who also has another podcast that is currently running at this moment in time during the current events of a certain pandemic, which is called none other than Don't Say the C Word. And no, we're not using that as
which is fine
of a swear word.
That's fine. Pandemic doesn't start with a C. We're good.
Yes, which is why I literally kept it up. And in case anybody wants to know what that's referring to, that would be revolving, avoiding saying anything other than the coronavirus or COVID-19. But the topics are on there are absolutely interesting. I've been a guest on there talking about the Sega Mega Drive. I highly recommend you check it out because they've had so many guests on there that are absolutely interesting. We, of course, also recommend check out We the Independent. That's with an IE, not a Y, because they've got some amazing interviews. Of course, I recommend you check out Think Wrestling, which is hosted by Tom Baker, and we're not referring to the former Doctor Who gentleman, but highly recommend you check that out. I recommend you check out Hatred Theory, which has new episodes always airing on every Thursday, and we of course also recommend you check out Kayfabe Music, who do the music for this broadcast for The Burning Truth, and of course I've also got some entrance music made from them myself. Absolutely amazing, which is none other than Kayfabe Music. We of course also recommend you check out Turnbuckle TV, where it's just $3.99 for 40 plus companies. If you're not interested in that and you want to just hear some showcases of Turnbuckle TV Showcase, which is, I believe, hosted by Wrestle Talk, which they actually have a link, which is, I believe, is just for $1.99. You can check that out as well.
Nice.
But it's absolutely amazing. But of course, we also recommend you check out your local wrestling companies by checking out, of course, Future Championship Wrestling, United Wrestling, Pro Wrestling for You, Future Shock Wrestling, Academy Pro Wrestling, Falling Star Wrestling, Venom Wrestling Federation, which was originally meant to be having a show today, but due to current events,
obviously not. But
Slam Wrestling, Wolf and Pro Wrestling, and many others. Of course, if you can't find out any local wrestling promotions, we of course also recommend you check out Babyface Wrestling app, which is free on your phone, and you can check, you can basically follow any company that you're interested in, or even any wrestlers, which of course UKWA is on there.
UKWA, also known as UK Wrestling Alliance, is on there in the companies section, and this guy who's somewhat of a big cheese in the wrestling world called Matt Burns is also on there. So while he couldn't possibly comment, I heartily recommend you follow both.
Yeah, and I would massively appreciate that if you did, but don't worry, I will not hold it against you if you didn't. But anyway, on top of that, we've also got the Burning Truth website, which is www.theburningtruthuk.com. Of course, do not hold us responsible for any of the external links that are on the links section, as we cannot be held responsible for what they display. We, of course, also recommend you check out our social media, which is on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. You can listen to any of our past episodes of The Burning Truth on the website, Spreaker, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Deezer, and many other external sources.
Lovely. And I think for this week, that's a wrap.
Wait, it's not a wrap-up yet. Not a wrap-up. Slight extra surprise. There has been some interesting talk about another slight makeshift, because, we normally have, in the past, we've had TBT interviews. That could be making a comeback, but it's going to be in a different format, potentially.
What, you mean it's going to be on top of, as well as the Burning Truth broadcasts?
Potentially. But not as regular.
Just an occasional one-off special to bolster the talking about wrestling and stuff, what we normally do.
Exactly. But anyway, that's going to be a wrap-up. But before we do the wrap-up, even though we are doing a wrap-up right now, we are just going to do our usual mental health message, which is, of course, always, we have to state this, especially at this moment in time. Especially, we know that there's a current pandemic, and a lot of people are probably waiting for doors to come open and, for the lockdown to come to an end. But understand this. Don't rush out too quickly. Please
for
be
goodness
safe.
sake, no. Stay safe. Stay at home unless it's absolutely vital that you go out, like
Correct.
Shopping or your once daily exercise.
Of course, unless stated otherwise by the government or wherever, in regards to your country government or whoever's in charge. And let's just state this as well. At the same time, while we are behind closed doors, our mental health is just as important. And if you are struggling, don't panic too much if you are, because it is okay to be not okay, and don't be afraid to ask for help. If you think you need it, you most likely do need it, but understand that asking for help is no way in any shape or form a sign of weakness. And in doing so, you could end up finding out that you've got more care for more people caring for you. More people
care more for you than you ever expected or realised.
Correct. Be it from family, friends, colleagues, or even a stranger could even show you some compassion. And of course, to quote, I believe, Tom Campbell from Cultaholic, never compare your behind the scenes to other people's greatest hits.
Exactly. Couldn't put it better. And in fact, we don't even try. That's why we use the handy quote.
Pretty much. And on top of that, to sign off, I'm going to recommend you all to stay well, stay safe. And until the next episode, please check out your local wrestling companies and check out their social media. And, of course, give a phone call to a family member or friends you haven't spoken to in a long while. They could use the boost. And anything else you want to say before we go?
And if you're in the position of being a key worker, or you've got some money stashed or whatever, and you can do it, support your local wrestlers by buying their merchandise. You can't watch their shows, so that's the safest way to keep them afloat.
But also at the same time, if not, and you don't want to give it to wrestlers, we do suggest you do provide some additional assistance to anybody who is a key worker, because they are currently needing any assistance or any help. If you can help them out in any way, please do so, because the fact that the hard work that they have been putting in is absolutely, it's heroic, genuinely heroic.
Yes, absolutely. And I would just like to point out, technically, as a supermarket employee, I am a frontline worker, but yeah, I'm kind of like second tier. Doctors and nurses, they're the ones you need to do the real applause for.
Yeah. But anyway, with that, I'm just going to state that is it for this week's episode. Until then, we hope you all stay well and stay safe, and we will catch you on the next episode, which will be next week. So until then, catch you laters.
Goodbye.